us that the BJP is also organizing, especially in the villages of West Bengal.
When stories have impact.
Hello everybody, you're watching NDTV and this is the Southern View. It was yet another charged day in the Parliament today, the monsoon session of the Parliament. There's some semblance of meaningful work getting done. The anti-paper leak bill was passed, but in the midst of sharp exchanges between the government and the opposition, and Rahul Gandhi's remarks and the demand for an apology kept the political temperature high. And away from Delhi, the Kaveri debate is heating up. It's become the fresh flashpoint between Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. It's been an issue that's been raging on for several years. Tamil Nadu Chief Minister, meanwhile, has also sought Prime Minister Modi's intervention on the Meghdadu Dam issue, even as the Parliament has been full with political sparring. We'll get you all the latest and more, but first up, the headlines. Exam reform bill passed in Lok Sabha in the midst of heavy opposition chants. The bill was passed through voice vote today on day 2 of the debate in the Lok Sabha. During anti-paper leak bill debate, Rahul Gandhi hits out at Home Minister Amit Shah. He said that it was the Home Minister who ordered the use of force against students during NEET protests. His remarks have now triggered a massive uproar. Lok Sabha was adjourned. Rahul Gandhi claims attempt to block speech in the Parliament. He has escalated the attack on government over police violence. He has asked as to who gave orders to forces. He has also demanded an SE-monitored investigation into violence. Delhi police have cracked down various abusive posts. Cops have issued notices to several ex-accounts over abusive posts targeting Prime Minister Modi during CJP protests. Kangana Ranaut, BJP MP, doubles down on attack over abusive protest videos. She says, live and abide by the Indian Constitution. Abhijit Dipke, meanwhile, says nobody takes Kangana seriously. While we discuss the Parliament, floods continue to batter the state of Assam. Over 75 people have been killed, more than 3 lakh people affected. We start with the latest from the Parliament, the monsoon session of the Parliament. A word used by Leader of Opposition in the Lok Sabha, Rahul Gandhi, during his speech was expunged from official records. Rahul Gandhi used an analogy involving 3 categories: student, idiot and andhbhakt, while accusing some people of projecting themselves or others like godlike figures. Now, these are back-to-back setbacks for Rahul Gandhi. First, his remarks on Home Minister were expunged. Remember that he targeted him, specifically said that he was the one who fired, who basically ordered the firing. And now another part of his speech has also been removed. My colleague Akhilesh joins us. Akhilesh has been covering the session intently. Akhilesh, what does this expunge actually mean, given that, a lot of people listen to his speech? The speech is online already. In today's age, does the expunging really carry any weight, or the fact that parliamentary records will not have a mention of this, is that a setback to Rahul Gandhi?
No, well, the media has to be careful about the proceedings, because when something is expunged from any speech, you cannot report it. There's the idea behind expunsion, and that's why when it becomes part of the record of Parliament tomorrow, or say after 10 years, when you go back to check the records, then you won't find it, because it is something which is expunged. That's the idea behind expunsion. That's why this order has been issued by the Lok Sabha Secretariat. Of course, it was a political matter. We have seen that how in the last 2 days on this bill, the opposition parties did not discuss merit or demerits of the bill, but in fact they were insisting that responsibility should be fixed as far as the alleged atrocities by the police on the protesters on July 20th is concerned. This was the main point which was raised by Rahul Gandhi today and yesterday by Akhilesh Yadav Yadav, Priyanka and Dimple Yadav. So all these opposition leaders are very clear that Home Minister should come to the House and reply. In fact, today when Rahul Gandhi has accused Home Minister Amit Shah of ordering firing at the protesters, that time Parliamentary Affairs Minister Kiran Rijiju countered him vehemently and told him very clearly that he should apologize for his remarks because it's a very serious and sensitive matter. Vasudha.
Right. Thank you, Akhilesh, for joining us with those details. Moving on to whatever happened in the Parliament today, let's get you the updates. Well, the monsoon session of the Parliament today, as much a battle over words as over the anti-paper leak bill that's been passed now. Rahul Gandhi refused to apologize to the BJP. He stood by his attack on the RSS and he alleged that Amit Shah, the Home Minister himself, ordered police action against protesting students. Now, his words have been expunged. He used a lot of analogies which are seemingly derogatory to the ruling party. Those have been expunged as well. Now, the government has also hit back, saying Rahul Gandhi made a factually wrong allegation and he could not even speak on the bill because of it. Now, the bill has been passed, but the argument has clearly moved beyond the bill. Rahul Gandhi's remarks have been expunged, like I said, but this also raises a bigger question about the way we speak to each other in public life. In the last few days, we've had people citing problems with the way Gen Z speaks, but today we also see the same debate going around in the Parliament as to what really is hurtful, what really is offensive, and what needs to be said. Now, has political language become so loaded that we are no longer debating each other's arguments but attacking each other's identities and intentions? Or is it also time for a lot of us to grow a thick skin, understand the intent beyond words? That's what we discuss in the course of the next few minutes. We'll be joined by a panel of guests, but first, some reactions.
I'm very happy today to see that the so-called Home Minister of this country does not have the courage to come and sit here. He does not have the courage to come and sit here.
उन्होंने कहा कि देश के गृह मंत्री कहां हैं, क्यों नहीं मौजूद है। राहुल जी, आपकी तरह देश के गृह मंत्री मेरे नेता हैं, आपके भी नेता हैं, आपके भी देश के गृह मंत्री हैं। बड़े सम्मान भाव के साथ उन्हें हिंदुस्तान देखता है। देश के गृह मंत्री आपके तरह चोरी चोरी चुपके चुपके सीक्रेटली फॉरेन ट्रिप्स पे नहीं जाते हैं।
This is a reaction from the soul of India that is saying under no circumstances are we going to become your andhbhakt. Under no circumstances are you going to define our future. Under no circumstances are we going to listen. The parents of these children did not have the courage to face the BJP. The parents of these children did not have the courage to face the RSS. And yet these children, brave, imaginative, powerful. Sir, Rajnath Singh ji said that we are not the UPA. Our ministers never resign. He's right. What has happened here? The resignation of Mr. Dharmendra Pradhan, that's a superficial thing. Because Dharmendra Pradhan never ran the education ministry. Never. The man and the organization that runs the education ministry is called the RSS. And the man who runs it is an OSD sitting in the minister's office. So, what the students are really irritated about is that they are not allowed to be students in India.
एक जगह उन्होंने स्टूडेंट्स की 3 कैटेगरी बताई है कि स्टूडेंट एक स्टूडेंट होता है जिसका दिल बड़ा होता है, जिसका दिमाग भी बड़ा होता है और वो सीखना चाहता है। दूसरा कैटेगरी ऑफ स्टूडेंट है वो इडियट होता है, वो एरोगेंट होता है, वो किसी की नहीं सुनता है। और तीसरा कैटेगरी होता है वो अंधभक्त होता है जो इडियट को भगवान मानता है। मतलब देश के स्टूडेंट का अपमान। अगर स्टूडेंट का 3 कैटेगराइजेशन किया है तो ये देश के स्टूडेंट्स का अपमान है। हम स्पष्ट रूप से कहते हैं इस देश के सारे स्टूडेंट विद्यार्थी है, अर्थात विद्या की उपार्जना करना चाहते हैं। ऑल द स्टूडेंट्स इन दिस कंट्री आर पेट्रियट्स। नन ऑफ द स्टूडेंट्स इन दिस कंट्री आर इडियट्स और अंधभक्ts।
We have Shazia Ilmi of the BJP joining us now. We have Pooja Tripathi of the Congress Party and Tushar Gupta, who's a social commentator. Thank you all of you for being part of this broadcast. Let me start with Shazia. Shazia, to you first. Rahul Gandhi spoke a lot. In fact, he also went on to say, I was told if I apologized, I would be allowed to speak. I never apologized to the BJP. This is what he said in a press conference that he addressed just a short while ago. Now, I understand this is becoming a contest of political pride, but you know, here we also understood that the BJP was on the back foot. The resignation had to happen. You know, after several years, we saw something that has never happened in the Modi government. So at this point of time, wouldn't it be better for the BJP to let this man speak, you know, let him have his way so that, you know, there's some part of the business that goes on as usual?
I mean, we saw how both Rajnath ji and Kiran Rijiju actually wanted the conversation to continue, the debate to continue, and how Rahul Gandhi really turned himself into some kind of a laughing stock by rambling on about something about the idiot and not Dostoevsky's, of course, but the idiot and the student and the andhbhakt, and just killing the time of the parliament. And not just that, Rahul Gandhi had nothing, one good point, one constructive suggestion, nothing. He'd clearly not read the bill. He knew nothing. He'd come unprepared. And not just that, he was just wrong. As you know, and the world has learned, whoever was watching, that Jitendra Singh categorically rejected Rahul Gandhi's allegation. So what did he say? Police opened fire on students protesting the alleged NEET paper leak. पर जब गोली चली नहीं है तो जैसे कि कहा गया है तो आप क्यों आदेश देने की बात कर रहे हैं? I mean, just see how misinformed he was and what a sad parliamentarian he makes. And only tear gas shells were used. And also Mr. Singh also stated that there were no live rounds were fired on July 20th, only tear gas. And anyway, Home Minister could not have ordered firing because Home Minister cannot order firing. There is a clarification, and I think most of us know, you know, Vasudha, you cover news, all of us do. I have done for a while, that the legal authority to order police firing rests with the executive magistrate and not with any minister whatsoever. So this whole allegation reflected not just a lack of understanding of the administrative procedure, but complete deception. Then you look at this another important thing that must be challenged, that, you know, just accusing Amit Shah and not even listening, you know, not even realizing that it is an accusation that's made. There is nothing proven, that you're just saying it in the parliament that Amit Shah ordered firing on students and criticized him. Now you have to give some evidence. You have to know there is no inquiry, nothing that has happened, but you're just saying it.
Pooja Tripathi, respond to that. Is Rahul Gandhi making statements without evidence? Although, Shazia, we have to say that there have been 3 victims of pellet gun, injuries as well, right? So, you know, the investigation is on. The CRPF is investigating as to what happened.
Anyway, cannot order it.
Okay.
So the whole premise was wrong, right?
Point taken. Pooja Tripathi, the fact, I mean, Shazia is saying that, you know, it's very irresponsible for the leader of opposition to make a statement for which he doesn't have an evidence. You know, also because, you know, it's not that the Home Minister is sitting and ordering and authorizing everything that the Delhi police or even any, you know, authority or, you know, even something that the RAF does. Pooja Tripathi.
In TV studio, you actually discourage naming other publications, but the report in Hindu by the journalist Vijeta Singh clearly mentions that Delhi police has denied in Parliament, but RAF fired pellet gun at protesters on the directions of Delhi police, and they have documented it. On the directions of Delhi police, and let me ask, who Delhi police comes under whom? Home Minister Amit Shah. If they have fired protesters,
Pooja Tripathi, you know, see, yeah, but the whole point is, should the leader of opposition making statements for which he doesn't have evidence?
Yeah. But there are reports, there are investigative journalists who brought out the diary entry, and that's what I'm saying. And Rahul Gandhi also brought out the pellet gun victim, Sahil Roch, a 19-year-old. If Delhi police is firing pellet guns,
what's the connection?
barricades.
What's the connection?
then it's gross incompetence on the
No,
on the part of
no. I can easily say that Rahul Gandhi ordered it. Can I just say that?
No,
They were
Shazia, let her finish. I'll come to you. I'll come to you for a response. Pooja, finish your.
You look at how facetious this whole argument is. How
incomplete. If Delhi police has ordered pellet guns, if a Delhi police has ordered electric
This is
brigade,
basic. You're a very well-educated person, ma'am. Pooja, I mean, you just look at the
Delhi
reasoning.
police has ordered with the orders of Amit Shah, then Amit Shah ji needs to come to the parliament. And what is this whole of not attending the parliament? You've been in state elections. Amit Shah ji is there at the BJP headquarters at 5 p.m. Modi ji is 5:05.
Why are you changing?
But Pooja Tripathi, the whole point is, I get your point. There have been pellet gun victims as well. Shazia, I'm coming to you. But today, today the whole crux was on the anti-paper leak bill, right? When the opposition keeps talking about something and then moves on to something, doesn't that risk the opposition becoming a little rhetorical? Are you falling into this trap of rhetorics because you're just going from one point to another? Is that what the threat is now? Because people are accusing Rahul Gandhi of not really talking about the bill which he could have possibly opposed and said a lot of things against, isn't it?
Whenever he tries to speak, whenever he stands to speak unparliamentary let me ask you, Vasudha, where does democratic institutions erode? Democratic institutions erode when ministers evade accountability, when ministers openly justify the release of rapists, when ministers order military-graded weapons on unarmed protesters. And also,
Shazia, this is a point that every Congress leader, every Congress worker makes, that Rahul Gandhi does not get time, he always gets prevented from speaking. Is that something that the BJP does deliberately?
You please, no. Again, the premise is that has happened. Again, it's like I'm saying, Vasudha, why do you want to murder me? But you're saying, but I don't. So the premise is wrong to start with. It's not true. So you presume that I want to murder you, and then you're asking the question. The fact of the matter is that we all watched the parliament proceedings with great interest. I don't leave even a single minute. And we all saw what happened in the parliament. He insisted on using the word idiot in a certain manner. He rambled on and really ate up really precious time of the parliament during that entire time that was given to him. And when there was objection about the use of the word idiot being unparliamentary, without any specificity as to who he's naming and as to who told him, some student, he said, then there was a very gentle, not once, he was chided by the speaker and requested to by Rajnath ji, and we all saw that please take this out and carry on. When he did not follow that, even then it was said, okay, we'll expunge it, carry on. And then what did he say? He talked about Amit Shah giving those orders. Now, again, what kind of a premise is this? Why did you do it? Why did you do it? But did you do it in the first place? I mean, it's like the same. There was a horrible charge, and I'm not with it at all, about a rape, supposedly some rape charge against Rahul Gandhi by some Sukanya. Now we say, why did you do it? Why did you do it? But the fact is he did not, and there was an accusation.
Rubbish.
So it's very easy to say that. It's just hilarious that you can ask such a question.
Pooja Tripathi, quickly respond to that. I also have to get in Tushar Gupta, and Neera Chaudhary is also joining us. Pooja Tripathi, quick response.
You cannot sit on national television and make some Manohar Kahani about Sukanya. Idiot is unparliamentary, but Nishikant Dubey standing up and saying,
again you're changing, again you're running away. You have nothing to say. That's why Rahul Gandhi keeps running away from students. Why are you running away?
Nishikant Dubey. I remember Prahlad Joshi interrupting Priyanka Gandhi saying, you have to give me advance notice to bring my name in the parliament.
Okay. Let me get in Tushar Gupta. Pooja and Shazia, let me get in Tushar Gupta here. Tushar Gupta, how do you see what happened in the parliament today?
I don't want this to be.
One may say that the opposition is trying to shift goalposts, but then that's, it's the opposition. It clearly tastes blood. It sees that this is the opportunity to seize the government, and no political party would probably sort of step back on that. There's been a resignation that's happened. There's a protest that was stopped. So clearly, the Congress party is trying to make the most out of it.
Look, much of the rules about the parliament procedure were formulated when the Congress was in power or during the days of the Constituent Assembly, even when the Congress had a significant presence. So what we're talking about is the parliamentary procedure. You can't shame the BJP for it because these are the rules. Now, if Rahul Gandhi thinks, instead of asking intelligent questions, instead of cornering the BJP, instead of cornering the new education minister or the MOS or Kiran Rijiju, it's very intelligent to call them idiots or to call their supporters unbugs. All the best to him. I mean, if Rahul Gandhi's political understanding is that he'll stand in the Lok Sabha and say that the voters of the BJP are unbugs and it will politically help him, it shows he's not learned his lessons. Remember, after 2024 elections, he was standing in the Lok Sabha directing towards the Prime Minister saying, look, we defeated you in Ayodhya. And what followed? What kind of electoral defeats followed for Rahul Gandhi? That is what I don't know, Congress doesn't understand or they do not want to understand. Parliament is not for Instagram. You're not there to create a posture or to create an image of, some superhero over there. You need to ask some tough questions that go on the record.
Okay.
10 years from now, no one will remember what Rahul Gandhi was calling BJP voters.
Point taken. I think that's an important point. Neerja Chaudhary, is this a missed opportunity for the Congress party? Because I see that, he at least is owning and leading the movement in mainstream political opposition space, right? Because he seems to be, sort of really owning this exam paper leaks, but now he has moved on to other issues. Is that a shortcoming on his part, or do you think this is how the Congress party wants to strategize?
I think, I agree with this view that there is a role for people, opposition and the ruling party in parliament. It's a very different role from what you do in street politics. Yes, the opposition has got new heart as a result of the students' movement. It was a very demoralized opposition. If you remember, before the protests, the BJP had won West Bengal and many parties, regional parties had split, and the BJP was very close, a striking distance of acquiring a 2/3 majority to push through delimitation bill, which was supposed to be the highlight of the monsoon session. Suddenly, the situation has altered very dramatically. Now, yes, the Congress party is trying to, get eyeballs, capture the headlines, and put the Home Minister on the back foot, demand certain answers to certain questions, which is understandable. But I myself as an older person, I don't like the use of these light words, derisive words, often very insulting words, needless. There has to be sharp cornering of the other side, the cut and thrust of a parliamentary debate that we have seen in the past, without losing the dignity and gravitas of what a parliamentary debate should be. But that's me.
Okay.
Having said that, I would say, given that we are dealing with a Gen Z, given that so many of the MPs use words that Gen Z would use, Bansuri Swaraj was very smart when she said clock it, the Prime Minister clocked it, and she can't use Shinde, use Dululu, don't be under a delusion. That's all right, let's ride it. But, to miss an opportunity as they did during the last 2 days.
Right.
This was a seminal moment in the history of India, where you had the young people of India demand reforms in the exam and the education system. Not to use that opportunity to flag those reforms. It is not only...
I think Neerja Ma'am is making a lot of important points. Very quickly, then I go to Shazia.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is
I
what
have
we
told
need
you
to
since...
do.
Vasudha, we were debating on the first day of this... Vasudha, we were debating on the first day of the session. I told you one simple thing. Ask intelligent questions. There is a place for philosophy, there is a place for performative politics, and then there is a place for procedures, and cornering the opposition. Rahul Gandhi seems to be confused within the three. The philosophy he was giving away in the parliament today, that was good for the presentation he was giving later on. But he's confusing a lot of things and not getting his point across. Today, a lot of Congress supporters would be looking at Rahul Gandhi and thinking he could have done better to get his point across. And now he's just ended up galvanizing the opposition, in this case the BJP, and its voter base by calling them unbugs and idiots and whatnot. This is where political mishits happen, and this is what Congress refuses to learn.
Okay, Shazia, I know that there needs to be dignity in political discourse, but what Rahul Gandhi said today, probably it's very problematic, but it's not that the BJP does not attack Rahul Gandhi outside the parliament, right? The BJP also has called Rahul Gandhi a lot of names. So in some ways, it's just become a political battle, isn't it?
No, well, the swords will be drawn on both sides and a lot gets said on street protests. That definitely happens. But But in the parliament, this was a very important opportunity. And even when he spoke, the little that he did on education, he talked about the RSS. Now, then again, it's a Dilulu moment for Rahul Gandhi, because then why didn't he ask for resignation? And he says it's not Dharmendra Pradhan. Then if it's not Dharmendra Pradhan, then why are you asking for his resignation? You should have asked for resignation of RSS. So I think there is a lot of confusion, and the way his mind works, the synapses work, he's not able to understand, and obviously he's all over the place, which makes it very abstract, and really he looks like a lost cause. And also when you these are very serious charges that you're making against the Home Minister on the floor of the House as leader of opposition. And when you say something like that he ordered the killings, you just can't say that without substantiation.
Okay.
When Priyanka Gandhi talked about, and I checked it all out, when Priyanka Gandhi talked about, a very senior IIT professor, as well as Prahlad Joshi, she was so facetious, and it was so light that she had not even done her homework. It's so sad.
Because
they end up antagonizing.
I agree with Shazia on this. Some of the things that Priyanka Gandhi said could have been avoided, right? Because you're trying to make a point here. And nobody, I don't even think Shazia denies that there was student anger, right? And I think there's a reason why the government took the call that it took. But now is the Congress party moving beyond all of that and helping the government move the conversation from student anger or protesters' anger to Rahul Gandhi versus BJP? Which probably is not good for the opposition.
Who are you asking?
Pooja Tripathi.
I would like also
Vasudha, who are you directing that?
NDTV video of Prahlad Joshi talking to, I think, your senior journalist at that time. He's not there with you guys anymore. And he's saying that wo sab to law ke within hua. So there's this, the video is there for, I would like NDTV.
Yeah, law ke within hua, but he was not garlanding or defending it. He was quoting
no,
the judicial
Priyanka Gandhi said law justifying. When he said law ke within justifying.
It's a problem. I know all about it.
You could not justify the release of a rape.
That in a very different context. All Prahlad Joshi said, yes, it was done within the purview of...
Let Pooja Tripathi respond. Shazia, I'm coming back to you. Pooja, respond.
Also, just now Tushar said that parliament is not Instagram. So why is Pradhan Mantri ji, Modi ji on Instagram making reels after reels by bad camera angles and not attending the parliament? Article 75(3) of Constitution says that Council of Ministers...
Is he making them from the parliament?
Is responsible to the
let him finish.
From the parliament.
Let him finish. Yeah.
And we want the answers. If the opposition is raising, who will raise the issue of minors being stuffed in jail in Bihar? Who will raise the issues of people losing eyesight by pellet gun injuries? Who will raise issues of a male constable hitting a female protester? Who will raise the issue of a male police officer putting a danda at the back of a female protester? Who will raise it?
Tushar Gupta, what's wrong in the opposition raising questions of violence inflicted on protesters? I think it's a valid question, isn't it?
Can I No.
Yeah.
Ask all the questions. Yes, Vasudha, I'll give you an example. Yesterday, Priyanka Gandhi, while referring to Professor V. Kamakoti, said he's a Gaon Motra expert. You know what happened on social media, on my social media? His former students were coming out and talking about his achievements. When a lot of journalists, a lot of commentators actually put out who the man really is. I mean, to give you an example, he's authored over 150 research papers in international journals. Most people go through their career without even authoring 5. Now, this is the problem. You are not focusing on the core issue. Right now, Pooja says the Prime Minister makes Instagram reels. He's making them from the Lok Sabha or the Rajya Sabha. He's making it at midnight from his residence. Rahul Gandhi can do the same. But when he's in the parliament, stick to the issue, ask tough questions, be on the records. You do not want your remarks to be expunged every time. Yesterday, the same happened to Priyanka Gandhi also, when she couldn't prove a certain remark. Today, the same has happened to Rahul Gandhi, and they're losing opportunities.
Okay, closing remarks from you, ma'am. We've been, most of this discussion has been about the basic grammar of parliamentary proceedings, but I do feel that it's probably time to reimagine that as well. And I'm sure Shazia, Pooja and Tushar would also agree with me that probably, some of it gets so intense and rigorous that probably our youngsters don't even want to know what's happening in the parliament, and they're more interested in what's happening outside it. Ma'am, do you agree with me that there needs to be a reimagining of the way parliament is run or the kind of expectations that we have from the proceedings?
Absolutely. I think they could call a special session of Parliament to I think this has been done in the past, to look at what Parliament is supposed to do, what is, expected of Parliament. And in this instance, as I was saying, the opposition could have flagged. Why not set up an education commission to look at holistically where reforms are needed, not just more punishment for neat teachers? That's one aspect of the story. The other thing that the LOP has raised, while I think it is uncalled for without evidence to make specific charges against the Home Minister, but Home Minister is responsible for the police force, and certain things have happened. We've seen pictures of it, we've seen videos, we've seen the lathi charge, etc. So an inquiry into what really happened on July 20th.
Yes,
a credible inquiry.
Yes.
Where were these who were these plainclothes people floating
Right.
around?
Shazia, quickly respond. Yeah.
No, I must come in because what Neerja ji is saying is something very serious, and people should not go with the impression that what she's saying is in a way, trying to say something about Amit Shah. So what Neerja ji is saying and not saying is what Akhilesh Yadav did, and I wish Neerja ji you heard what Akhilesh Yadav said and what the speaker had to say, that you can mention then the allegations. You can mention the allegations, but he didn't say it like that. So Neerja ji, sorry to correct you, ma'am, but this is exactly what transpired today.
Okay.
And in fact, Akhilesh Yadav brought up the issue in a far
I'm completely
more,
out of time, Neerja ma'am. Shazia, I'm completely out of time. Thank you, Pooja. Thank you, Tushar. Thank you, Shazia. And thank you, Neerja ma'am, for joining us. BJP MP Sambit Patra has addressed a counter press conference in what he says he's debunking Rahul Gandhi's claims that he wasn't allowed to speak today in the floor of the House. Remember, Rahul Gandhi spoke in the Lok Sabha today. Sambit Patra, who is a BJP MP, responded saying, and I quote, Rahul Gandhi was given enough time, but he could not make his point. Instead, he was misleading people with his address. Now, this comes just minutes after Rahul Gandhi addressed a press conference after speaking in the Lok Sabha today, and he said that he was asked to apologize. He didn't apologize because he will never apologize to the BJP. Let's listen in to what both of them said today.
The leader of opposition is not allowed to speak in the Lok Sabha. Multiple times I asked the speaker to bring order to the House so that I could speak. Multiple times Riju ji, Rajnath Singh ji, others were allowed to speak, but I'm not allowed to speak. And the excuse was that I said something about Mr. Amit Shah. I said that Mr. Amit Shah was responsible for the brutality that was carried out. I was also given an assurance that if I apologize, then I will be allowed to continue to speak.
उन्होंने आक्षेप लगाया कि आई वॉज नॉट अलाउड टू स्पीक, मुझे बोलने का मौका नहीं दिया गया। मैंने बार बार कहा है, जब 45 लोगों को बोलने का मौका दिया गया तो राहुल गांधी को बोलने का मौका क्यों नहीं दिया जाएगा? जब प्रियंका वाड्रा जी को बोलने का मौका दिया गया, प्रियंका वाड्रा जी ने भी कई आक्षेप लगाए, तो राहुल गांधी जी को बोलने का मौका क्यों नहीं दिया जाएगा? राहुल गांधी जी को पूरा मौका दिया गया, मगर राहुल गांधी जी बोल नहीं पाए। राहुल गांधी जी ने यह आरोप लगाए कि किरण रिजिजू जी ने और राजनाथ जी ने उनके बीच में बोला, उन्हें मौका मिला मगर राहुल जी को मौका नहीं मिला। पहली बात, किरण रिजिजू जी ने खड़े होकर 2 या 3 बार जो आपत्ति जताई वो वाजिब आपत्ति थी, और वह आपत्ति एक अनपार्लियामेंट्री शब्द इडियट को लेकर था, जो कि कानूनन रूल्स के हिसाब से आप सदन के पटल पे जिस शब्द का प्रयोग नहीं कर सकते हैं।
We're joined by Praveen Chakravarti, Congress MP. Thank you, Mr. Chakravarti, for joining us. My first question to you, sir, it was quite a stormy day in the parliament today, and some of the things that Rahul Gandhi said have been expunged. He has directly attacked the Home Minister, saying that he's directly responsible for whatever violence took place in Delhi, the brutalities on protesters. The other word, idiot, has also been expunged now, is what we understand. A lot of people, specifically in the BJP, feel that there needs to be more restraint in the way Rahul Gandhi speaks, and that this is a missed opportunity for him because he didn't really speak on the bill, the exam paper leak bill, which has now been passed.
Now, see, first, I think what are the facts? Is it true or not that there were pellet guns fired at the youth protesters in Jantar Mantar? Is it true or not that there were lathi charges, beatings, and police unleashed violence on the protesters? It is also known that pellet guns is not part of the standard operating procedure for crowd control for any protest rally. So then it needed special permission for the police to use pellet guns. Now, the police could not obviously taken a decision on their own about this. So the Delhi police comes under the purview of the Home Ministry. So who ordered the use of the pellet guns against the students? Is this a legitimate question or not? Should we not know the answer to this? That is what Mr. Rahul Gandhi was trying to raise in Parliament. So what is so sacrilegious about this? What is so unparliamentary about this? After all, we were discussing the bill that emerged after the students' protests. So is it also not right to ask what was the reason behind the violence on these protesters? Who is responsible for it? Just as Mr. Dharmendra Pradhan took responsibility for the deaths of nearly 21 students due to paper leaks and resigned, do we also not need accountability for violence unleashed on peaceful student protesters? That was what Mr. Rahul Gandhi was trying to ask in Parliament today.
But Mr. Chakravarti, in that context, you asked for three things. The Congress party, in fact, asked for three things. You wanted an apology from the Prime Minister. You wanted accountability on the violence that was inflicted on the protesters in New Delhi. And then, of course, the resignation of Dharmendra Pradhan. Only the resignation has happened so far. There's been no statement that's been issued by anybody in the government with regard to the resignation of Dharmendra Pradhan as well. In the floor of the House, the bill has been passed now, the exam paper leak bill. So while we may say a lot, the government could say that it is getting things done the way it wanted. So how does the Congress view this? Does it still see a victory for itself in whatever that has happened?
It is rather unfortunate that on an issue that has really taken the nation by storm, it was such an important issue that it even shook the Prime Minister out of his slumber to post a video in a strange angle at midnight. So with that being said, is it not then important enough for us to know the answers to what caused the violence? And B, will this bill really solve what the students were protesting for? And that should have been discussed and debated in Parliament. Unfortunately, that did not happen. The bill has gotten passed. So it's rather unfortunate that something as serious as this has been passed in the din in Lok Sabha.
Mr. Chakravarti, there's also been a lot that's been said about the words that Rahul Gandhi used today, including the ones which have been expunged, the use of the word idiot. And yesterday, Priyanka Gandhi went on to talk about Professor V. Kamakoti, a reputed computer science professor. She talked about the Gaumutra project. And, all of this has also been criticized by several sections. They feel that, this really reduces a lot of people to caricatures, and this could have been completely avoided.
See, I think people can always take offense to, say, the combative nature of Mr. Rahul Gandhi. But I think Mr. Rahul Gandhi has millions of admirers for exactly that trait of his personality, which is combative and not one that will be cowed down or bow down to powers that be. And I actually think we must view a lot of this in the context of the protest itself. There is so much talk about Gen Z. There's so much. I mean, we saw strange Gen Z language being used by really old millennial MPs in the Lok Sabha, which I thought was cringe, to use a Gen Z word. But but having said that, I mean, I think in the seriousness of this issue, I think whether Mr. Gandhi was combative or not is not really the point. Whether was he asking the right questions? Was there substance to the questions that he was raising? Absolutely, yes. And they should have been discussed and debated. So I'm very, very clear that the government really let down, more than the Congress party, let down the students and the youth of this country once again by passing this bill in a rush and in the den of the Lok Sabha. But I'm told it's going to come to the Rajya Sabha tomorrow. So hopefully where we will get a chance to discuss this bill in great detail.
Gen Z lingo, that reminds me, you could be the right person to talk about this. You teach a lot of students, you're also a professor at Ashoka University. What's your advice to the ruling party or to your own leader, Rahul Gandhi, on Gen Z? Because a lot of people, including me, are trying to understand what Gen Z wants. What is it that people have to remember when they're talking to Gen Z or even trying to understand what they want?
No, I mean, I can't claim to be any expert on that generation, except that I have a daughter of that age, and I also do teach students. But beyond that, I mean, they baffle me as much as I baffle them. So, yes, I think one thing is very clear, and you know what, we saw this really in the Tamil Nadu election in some sense. I think that generation is basically saying we don't want status quo. We want change. We're not happy with the way things are going. And this applies to everybody. We want radical change. We want change in our way, in our style. Do not question us. And after the Tamil Nadu election and now Jantar Mantar, they actually do believe they can bring about material political change. And that is something that is a big lesson for all political parties, including my own party. Today.
Right. My last question to you, sir. What is the Congress party strategy going to be from here on? Because the exam paper leak bill seems to, in some ways it's been passed by the Lok Sabha. It, of course, comes to the Rajya Sabha tomorrow. But that issue looks sorted as of now. So are there other issues that you're going to raise? What is the Congress party looking at?
No, see, first, I would disagree with you that the bill is a solution to the exam leak. I mean, merely increasing punishment from 3 years to 5 years or, increasing penalties from 10 lakhs to 50 lakhs isn't really, I mean, that way, I mean, dowry is a crime in this country for decades. Do we still not have dowry deaths? So punishment's never been an incentive, really, to prevent the crime itself in this country. So merely increasing punishment, I don't believe is a solution to these exam leaks. I think we need a far, far, far more deeper, profound, constructive discussion on what ails our education system. And that's really the question that the youth and the protesters were asking. As regards the monsoon session of Parliament, as I said, this will come to the Rajya Sabha tomorrow. We hope to have a fruitful discussion on this and really raise some of these larger questions. And then after that, we look forward to some of the discussions on some of the other bills that have been listed.
Praveen Chakravarti there, Congress MP, disagreeing with the fact that Rahul Gandhi needs to speak with restraint. This is something that the BJP has been saying. It says that the combative nature of Rahul Gandhi is exactly what makes people like him. Thank you so much, Mr. Chakravarti, for joining us. Moving on to the other top story today. The Kaveri dispute is one of South India's oldest and most politically sensitive water battles. At the heart of it is a simple but deeply contentious question. How much water should Karnataka state release to Tamil Nadu, which depends heavily on a river downstream. Now, the proposed Meghadattu Dam has added another layer of complexity to this dispute, with Karnataka wanting to build a reservoir upstream and Tamil Nadu strongly opposing it. Now, Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Vijay has sought Prime Minister Modi's intervention in this matter after the centre told Parliament that the Supreme Court's 2018 judgment does not expressly require Karnataka to get Tamil Nadu's consent before constructing a new structure across the river Kaveri. So is Mekadatu simply a Karnataka infrastructure project? Could it fundamentally alter the balance of water sharing arrangement? That's the important question that we ask. We're joined by Mr. Ramakrishnan of The Hindu, and we also have R.K. Upadhyay, who's both of them are analysts. Mr. Ramakrishnan is a senior journalist. Thank you both of you for being part of this broadcast. Mr. Ramakrishnan, how do we understand this issue? I know you've been covering the Kaveri issue for several years. Help us understand, where is the problem right now? What is it that Tamil Nadu wants, and what is it that Karnataka is willing to give?
As far as this, the crux of the problem is, you see, Tamil Nadu hasn't received as much water as you should have got since June 1st. Okay, you have this Kaveri Water Dispute Tribunal's final award, which has been modified by the Supreme Court in February 2018. Okay, so but everybody knows that the Kaveri catchment has been having very scanty rainfall. Okay, a very deficient rainfall, and then Karnataka. The storage position is about only 56% of what it has. Okay, and then so there is a problem with water availability in Karnataka. Okay, so but the point is this: in times of distress, you can share the distress. Okay, that's so. So the distress sharing formula is what Tamil Nadu wants. So it has been demanding, and nothing has happened on that front. Okay. But in the meantime, the Kaveri Water Regulation Committee, which is the body that assists the Kaveri Water Management Authority, okay, so they have said that that Karnataka had to release 3,500 cusecs of water to be realized at Biligundalu, which is on the interstate border. So the point is this: both in the Karnataka as well as the intermediate catchment, that is Krishna Sagar and Kabini, from where Tamil Nadu is getting water, that between the two dams of Karnataka as well as the Mettur, you have the intermediate catchment, and the intermediate catchment has been completely dry. Okay, so they have to release much more than what has been stipulated. So that adds more problem for Karnataka. That's why I think they are going to have all-party meeting, etc. Okay, R.K. Upadhyay, how strong are the political stakes here? Because both Chief Minister Joseph Ajay and D.K. Shivakumar are new Chief Ministers. Their parties are allies, and there is also the centre here. Is there any role that the centre can play, or is this left to the states to resolve?
So at least these two are new Chief Ministers, and hopefully they're going to talk. I believe Vijay is coming here on the 3rd of August for talks, and it's going to be talks after a very long time. This is an issue which has to be discussed, because both the states have their own problems, and especially this year when there has been drought, the rainfall has been very scanty. As Ramakrishnan was saying, that around 50-55% of the reservoir is full. So how do we meet the mandated water release? I think that's the whole question. So, and also Karnataka is insisting on Mekadatu, because that is, it can utilize its share of water without getting the approval of the the lower parent state. The 2018 verdict very clearly says every state has the freedom to utilize the allocated water in the manner it deems fit. It need not take the legally the lower parent state cannot legally block the upper parent state from constructing unless they can prove that the project directly reduces the water. So, that being the legal case, Karnataka says, look, we have additional water, 4.75 TMC of water, which has been given by the Supreme Court, and we would like to utilize it for Bangalore city. This is for drinking water. And Bangalore city, as you know, it's been growing, and there is 1.3 crores of people, and 30% of them, ironically, is Tamilians. So they also benefit from, this water supply in Bangalore city. Okay. So this is an issue which will not go away unless, both the chief ministers can sit down and talk and then work out, distress formula. So that has been the sticking point. There has been no formula which has been worked out as to how do we in a deficit year, how do we manage it? I think that needs to be worked out.
Actually, I hear this from a lot of Kannadigas. How is Bangalore going to manage its growing and all that? Help us understand the Tamil Nadu's point of view also, because how critical is it for Tamil Nadu to ensure that its stand gets the kind of importance that it deserves?
See, the Karnataka is free to utilize its share of water in a manner that it deems it fit, but without being prejudicial to the interest of the lower riparian state. That's the crux of the order of the tribunal final award. That is number one. Number two is there is a factor called trust deficit. Okay, because the tribunal itself came into being as an outcome of the failure of negotiations that were held for 22 years, 26 rounds of talks. So this trust deficit is there. So whether that 4.75 or 5.75, that the quantum is one thing. But the point is that unless you remove this factor, okay, which is, I think, for Karnataka to do, then the Tamil Nadu will be continuously confronting Karnataka with all the legal cases.
Okay.
So I think that won't take either of them anywhere.
Absolutely.
But the point is that the trust deficit has to be removed. That's very, very critical.
Okay. Thank you, RK sir, and thank you.
Just one more I'd like to make.
Yes,
Can I make just
quickly,
one?
sir, yes.
You see, this Mekedatu project involves submergence of 5,000 hectares of thick forest area in the Kaveri Wildlife sanctuary. I think that is one major reason why it may not be able to go through. And being concerned about environment, I would think that this should not go through, because that will submerge the pristine forest and also the elephant corridors. See, this is a very, very ecologically dangerous place, and I think unless it is modified.
I'm completely out of time, but I get your point, and I think that this is going to be a burning issue for some weeks. We'll meet again to discuss this. Thank you so much for joining us, both of you. Karnataka and Tamil Nadu, like our panelist also pointed out, need to find a political solution, or whether the Kaveri will once again have to be settled through confrontation and courts remains to be seen. It's time for a short break. More news and updates on the other side.
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे, केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
याद है ना मैंने क्या सिखाया था? सिल्वर के लिए स्टर्लिंग मार्क, गोल्ड के लिए हॉलमार्क और मस्टर्ड ऑयल के लिए सिर्फ पी मार्क।
इस बार तो माँ से भी बेहतर बना।
पी मार्क द मस्टर्ड स्पेशलिस्ट सिंस 1933। बरसों से सरसों।
कुछ तो बात है इस दिल में।
हिंदुस्तान मिले हिंदुस्तान से।
जय हो देश हो विदेश हो, जय हो।
देश का टायर, जेके टायर।
जानते हैं मैं एलीट मैट्रिमोनी क्यों रिकमेंड करता हूं? 17 years of experience, largest database of elite profiles, और 100% confidentiality. Elite Matrimony, India's most successful matchmaking service for the elite.
We are over, Jimmy.
Hey, लाइफ में स्क्रैचेस तो आएंगे। गाड़ी के स्क्रैचेस को तो कॉस्मो पीपीएफ संभाल लेगा, आप अपना देख लो।
प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, delicious, healthy, every day. He has tracked the pulse of power from Washington to Korea. Witnessed history being made in global capitals and conflict zones.
Dislocation from Tel Aviv
Brought clarity to complex issues of national security and international affairs.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke to him at length yesterday.
The Ayatollah Khamenei is gone. There has been a missile attack right behind you, and we need to rush into a shelter. Heading there. Will Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli resign?
And now, Aditya Raj Kaul, covering international affairs like no one else. Only on NDTV network.
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है? अरे मेरे राजा, मसाला।
ये युग तुम्हारा, ये रण तुम्हारा, हर चुनौती तुम्हारी, हर शिखर तुम्हारा। तुम ही हो भारत का स्वाभिमान।
हर सेक्टर, हर स्टेट, हर रीजन, हर उम्र के इनोवेटर्स ने दिया जबरदस्त प्रतिसाद। तभी तो वंदे भारतम में एप्लीकेशंस पहुंचे 25,000 के पार और रजिस्ट्रेशन डेडलाइन बढ़कर हुई है 30 जुलाई। आप भी भारत के सबसे बड़े ग्रास रूट इनोवेशन मूवमेंट से जुड़े। वंदेभारतम.org पर रजिस्टर करें।
What seems settled for me is unfinished business. So I rewind, I pause, I reflect, I dig until what's buried stands up to be counted. Breaking ground, not just headlines, the meaning behind them. This is Breaking Ground with me, Vedika Sood.
मीठा या नमकीन, चाहे जैसे खाओ, 100% सूजी से बनी आर प्योर वर्मिसेली, स्वादिष्ट, सेहतमंद हर रोज।
पर जब इंसान प्रकृति के साथ सामंजस्य को आत्मसात कर लेता है तो वो मधुर और लालन पोषण करने वाली बन जाती है। पी मार्क सरसों के तेल ने प्राकृतिक तरीके से सरसों के तेल को बनाया है शुद्धता और गुणवत्ता के साथ।
The mustard specialist since 1933. बरसों से सरसों।
कुछ तो बात है इस दिल में। From the newsroom to the studio to the thick of political action.
Now watching NDTV 24/7, the hope is that beyond this election, this will be one of the major issues. With multiple challengers in the fray, the TMC also has done a bit of rejigging. Remember, this is also a district that has
Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Vijay's inspections are taking an interesting turn now. This time it was not any hospital ward or a government office. In fact, there was no surprise visit to check on officials as well. The Tamil Nadu Chief Minister Joseph Vijay got on a metro train today. He travelled to Nandanam, reviewing metro operations along the city, interacting with officials and also with commuters, regular commuters. And there were some heartfelt moments of commuters, women specifically, reaching out to him with a lot of warmth, and this is becoming some sort of a pattern for the new Chief Minister. He's already made surprise visits to government hospitals, including Egmore, the hospital in which he himself was born. He has checked wards, facilities, patient care, and now he's also checking the commute. So is this Chief Minister Vijay's version of governance by inspection? He's also making sure that work gets complete on time. Look at those visuals there. The Chief Minister travelled to Nandanam, and he probably is also sending out a message that he's ready to step out of the office every day, experience the life that people lead himself, and after hospitals, public services and metro, what's next on the Chief Minister's surprise inspection list? We'll tell you more. Well, it's time for a short break. More news and updates on the other side.
हिंदुस्तान मिले हिंदुस्तान से। जय हो देश हो विदेश हो जय हो।
देश का टायर, जेके टायर।
याद है ना मैंने क्या सिखाया था? सिल्वर के लिए स्टर्लिंग मार्क, गोल्ड के लिए हॉल मार्क और मस्टर्ड ऑयल के लिए सिर्फ पी मार्क।
इस बार तो माँ से भी बेहतर बना।
P Mark, the mustard specialist since 1933. बरसों से सरसों।
कुछ तो बात है इस दिल में।
जानते हैं मैं एलीट मैट्रिमोनी क्यों रिकमेंड करता हूं? 17 years of experience, largest database of elite profiles और 100% confidentiality. Elite Matrimony, India's most successful matchmaking service for the elite.
We are over, Jimmy.
Hey, लाइफ में स्क्रैचेस तो आएंगे। गाड़ी के स्क्रैचेस को तो कॉस्मो पीपीएफ संभाल लेगा, आप अपना देख लो।
आर प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी एवरीडे। He has tracked the pulse of power from Washington to Korea. Witnessed history being made in global capitals and conflict zones.
dislocation from Tel Aviv.
brought clarity to complex issues of national security and international affairs.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke to him at length yesterday.
The Ayatollah Khamenei is gone. There has been a missile attack right behind you, and we need to rush into a shelter. Heading there. Will Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli resign?
And now, Aditya Raj Kaul, covering international affairs like no one else, only on NDTV network.
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मम्मा क्या स्वाद है। अरे मेरे राजा मसाला।
ये युग तुम्हारा, ये रण तुम्हारा, हर चुनौती तुम्हारी, हर शिखर तुम्हारा, तुम ही हो भारत का स्वाभिमान।
हर सेक्टर, हर स्टेट, हर रीजन, हर उम्र के इनोवेटर्स ने दिया जबरदस्त प्रतिसाद। तभी तो वंदे भारतम में एप्लीकेशंस पहुंचे 25,000 के पार और रजिस्ट्रेशन डेडलाइन बढ़कर हुई है 30 जुलाई। आप भी भारत के सबसे बड़े ग्रास रूट इनोवेशन मूवमेंट से जुड़े vandeBharatam.org पर रजिस्टर करें।
मीठा या नमकीन, चाहे जैसे खाओ, 100% सूजी से बनी आर प्योर वर्मिसेली, स्वादिष्ट, सेहतमंद हर रोज। The front lines of Kargil, the fury of Operation Sindoor,
So many attacks.
the chaos and cries of disaster zones, to fighter jet cockpits, and the world's most defining interviews.
It's incredible.
He has seen history break. Live, unfiltered. 20,000 hours of live broadcasting.
Welcome to Left, Right and Center.
Hard facts.
War-struck country.
Hard questions.
In the Ukraine.
30 years of trust.
In the Kargil area. North Ukraine. In France, in Italy. At Srinagar. And Vishnu Show.
Good evening and welcome. Thanks very much for tuning in to NDTV. And as always, when it's a big story, when it's something that you need to know about the context, about the facts of what's happening, the buck stops here. Who is the idiot? Who's the student? And who is the andhbhakt? That's a question we must ask ourselves today. For 36 days, an agitation took place in our country where the youth raged against the machine. A machine that is leaky and where futures of lakhs of students depend on whether someone will choose to do their job honestly or not on that day. And that is why Gen Z hit the streets looking for, demanding solutions. And after all of that labor, for more than a month, what happened? An amended bill was to be brought in with stricter provisions and harsher penalties to ensure that these paper leaks, which have angered our students, these paper leaks are controlled. That anti-paper leak bill was passed today in Parliament. But was there any value addition at all? Why was it brought to Parliament? So that there would be debate, there would be suggestions, that the bill would be improved in some manner before it was passed. But most of the time was lost to commotion, sloganeering, and unrelated comments about Gomutra, Andhbhakt, and Ayashi.
The resignation of Mr. Dharmendra Pradhan, that's a superficial thing. Because Dharmendra Pradhan never ran the education ministry. Never. The man and the organization that runs the education ministry is called the RSS. And the man who runs it is an OSD sitting in the minister's office. Dharmendra Pradhan is a symbol. Your real enemy is the RSS. Keep it in mind. So these are the three categories. Student and who follows the now.
बेबुनियाद बातें आज उन्होंने हाउस में की है। राष्ट्रीय स्वयंसेवक संघ एक सामाजिक सोशो कल्चरल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है और शिक्षा मंत्रालय रूल्स पर चलता है। शिक्षा विभाग की अपनी पूरी व्यवस्थाएं हैं, अफसर उसकी सब व्यवस्थाओं की देख रेख करते हैं।
एक जगह उन्होंने स्टूडेंट्स की 3 कैटेगरी बताई है कि स्टूडेंट एक स्टूडेंट होता है जिसका दिल बड़ा होता है, जिसका दिमाग भी बड़ा होता है और वो सीखना चाहता है। दूसरा कैटेगरी ऑफ स्टूडेंट है वो इडियट होता है, वो एरोगेंट होता है, वो किसी की नहीं सुनता है। और तीसरा कैटेगरी होता है वो अंधभक्त होता है, जो इडियट को भगवान मानता है। हम स्पष्ट रूप से कहते हैं, इस देश के सारे स्टूडेंट विद्यार्थी है, अर्थात विद्या की उपार्जना करना चाहते हैं। ऑल द स्टूडेंट्स इन दिस कंट्री आर पेट्रियट्स। नन ऑफ द स्टूडेंट्स इन दिस कंट्री आर इडियट्स और अंधभक्त।
By the way, for anyone who is interested, the word idiot is officially unparliamentary in India, depending on the context and ruling of the presiding officer of the House. Even in the UK, in May 2012, Prime Minister David Cameron was ordered by the Speaker to withdraw the word idiot after referring to Ed Balls as a muttering idiot during the Prime Minister's questions. Cameron complied and substituted the insult with a political critique. Be that as it may, in India, idiot ended up being word of the day inside our parliament. And what happened? When the debate was happening, rather than reforms, the focus of both sides was clear. For the Congress, this was an opportunity to not just paint the government as anti-student, but also bring in the RSS angle of how the Sangh interferes in the education policy of the country. What does this have to do with paper leaks is anyone's guess. For the BJP, it was more important to dodge the issue of police excesses and claim the resignation of Dharmendra Pradhan as the government's sensitivity rather than the Congress's success. But in this heated back and forth, seeking of resignations and demands of an apology, guess who actually ended up being an idiot?
And I'm very happy today to see that the so-called Home Minister of this country does not have the courage to come and sit here. He does not have the courage to come and sit here. Sir, please. I saw the Home Minister, sir. Carcade. Sir, I saw the carcade. 30 cars. With the Home Minister sitting inside the car. Like that. Looking. Shaking.
जब वो कहते हैं कि गृह मंत्री जी ने गोली चलाने का आदेश दिया और उसे ऑथेंटिकेट करने में नाकाम है, तो सबसे पहली बुनियादी बात कि कहीं भी गोली चलाने का आदेश कोई मंत्री नहीं देता, वो मैजिस्ट्रेट देता है, एसडीएम देता है, डीएम देता है। हम सब विधायक रहे हैं, सांसद रहे हैं, हमारे अनुभव में है। इसका अर्थ ये हुआ कि उन्हें सार्वजनिक जीवन का भी अनुभव में अभाव है।
Opposition is not allowed to speak in the Lok Sabha. Multiple times I asked the Speaker to bring order to the House so that I could speak, and the excuse was that I said something about Mr. Amit Shah. I said that Mr. Amit Shah was responsible for the brutality that was carried out.
माफी मांगो राहुल गांधी, माफी इसलिए मांगो क्योंकि आपने भ्रम फैलाया। आपके भ्रम के कारण देश में फिर से अराजकता फिर से फैल जाए, इस प्रकार की कुचेष्टा करने की कोशिश आज आपने सदन में किया। सदन में वो फेल्योर हुआ तो अब आप बाहर कर रहे हैं। ये चलेगा नहीं। राहुल गांधी जी, आपको माफी मांगनी ही पड़ेगी।
All right, and joining us on the show today, we have Shehzad Poonawala from the Bharatiya Janata Party. Senior journalist Harshvardhan Tripathi joins us. We also have with us Sanjeev Srivastava, senior journalist. But my first question is to Sanjay Jha. Sanjay Jha, enlighten us. Who is the idiot? Everyone's wondering. This is like that mysterious 16, which we are still wondering about.
Yeah, Padmaja, let me tell you, clearly the guilty conscience of the BJP has really kind of exposed them before the country that they are actually feeling the heat of what is happening in the country when the young have begun to ask questions, and when Rahul Gandhi actually made a very pointed and a very, I would say, organized attempt to ask a hard question to the BJP today. Where was India's Home Minister? There are 2 points that Rahul Gandhi made that I think needs to be repeated again and again. Padmaja, you mentioned in your introduction about the RSS. Let me tell you, Rahul is absolutely right. Ever since the NTA was created, one of the biggest criticisms has been the centralization. And anybody who goes into the nitty-gritties of it will tell you there is an attempt to play around with the syllabus, and the RSS has indeed infiltrated the entire education system, which is why it is in a holy mess. We can talk about that later. But the second point is crucial. Let's not forget this. This is what Rahul Gandhi mentioned and you and I talked about the other day on your program. Delhi police, CRPF, RAF, whatever, they all report to the Union Home Ministry, MHA. That is Mr. Amit Shah. And frankly speaking, when a strange truck, which was seized by the Delhi cops, is found near the vicinity of Jantar Mantar, how is it that history sheeters and all these very, people with a very questionable track record of roaming freely around, and this government doesn't seem to have any answers. So
Sanjay sir, right now the viewers of this program will end up feeling like idiots, because today's debate and yesterday's debate in the Lok Sabha was supposed to be about paper leaks. What does that have to do with the RSS? What does that have to do with the Home Minister? What does that have to do with police excesses? While they are very, very important and pertinent issues, but today was about ensuring that a new law comes in or an amended law comes in that checks paper leaks. And nobody had anything constructive to say. Actually, some people did. But the one person who should have given the maximum such suggestions, pinned down the government, made them bring about a foolproof bill, was talking about the RSS. Why?
Well, let me tell you, Padmaja, you will never know what Rahul Gandhi had to say, because Rahul Gandhi was not even given an opportunity to speak. I actually heard him from the beginning to the end. And I can tell you, anybody who sees the recording...
But if he wasn't given an opportunity to speak, how did you hear him from the beginning to the end?
Well, whatever limited time he had, right? That's what I mean. It's pretty logically correct. Rahul Gandhi was not able to finish his talk. And I saw it. Kiran Rijiju, other people were repeatedly on the camera. The camera was very often focused on the speaker who was saying nothing, but it had nothing to do with the opposition, Rahul Gandhi. It's so fascist. This government is so insecure, frightened, cowardly and authoritarian. They didn't even allow the camera to look at Rahul Gandhi, who basically should have been the central point of conversation.
Okay, answer this, Shahzad Poonawala. Okay, point made. Eventually, he would have come to his constructive suggestions about how you can fix this problem. You should have just let him speak instead of cutting him off when he was just trying to expose what all is happening behind the scenes.
So first of all, just to remind everybody on the panel, I am actually the youngest, and there are 2 categories in this panel at least: suspended chamchas and active chamchas. Now, I'm not saying anything. I didn't take anybody's name. I did not, Padmaja, take anybody's name. Look at the reaction that has come out. Padmaja, did I take anybody's name? Did I take anybody's name?
Sanjay Jha is reacting.
So he's
you are reacting when he said.
Now I'll come to that also. But please ask Sanjay to calm down and let somebody speak. He keeps interrupting because he's an insecure imbecile. No, this is not on. This is not on.
Call him insecure, but not an imbecile.
Okay, I will now complete.
Sanjay, I will give you time to respond. I'll give you time to respond. Sanjay.
No. I am not yielding. No, Padmaja, this is not right. Padmaja, this is not right. He keeps doing this. In every debate, Padmaja, in every debate, the record is that in 5 seconds, Sanjay Jha starts interrupting me, and that cannot continue.
Okay.
Now let me complete. The reason why the BJP took objection is as follows. You call the people of India idiots. You call the people of... Please tell him to keep quiet. I am not going to...
One at a time, please.
I am going to restart everything.
Coming back to you. Yes, go
because
on.
People want to hear actually who's young. People of India are being called idiots, or...
Scarf, man.
Padmaja, either you tell your PCR...
Can you please keep it down one at a time? We'll go back to Mr. Jha. Yes.
Starting at the beginning, there are 2 categories of people: suspended chamchas and active chamchas. The reason why the BJP reacted in parliament is because, point 1, idiot is an unparliamentary expression. By the way, in the Chhattisgarh assembly, they banned the word Bal Buddhi. Rahul Gandhi doesn't sit there. Why did they ban it? Secondly, using idiot even as a true statement that Rahul Gandhi says, I am an idiot. It's true. But even using it in that context is not allowed in parliament. And saying that Indians are idiots or Indians are andhbhakts, which is false, is not allowed in parliament. Rahul Gandhi and his party are foul mouths who say that Janta is a Rakshas when they lose elections. They start abusing the people of India when they lose elections, and that's what Rahul Gandhi did, and therefore he did not speak a word on the provision of the law. By the way, if he would have spoken on the provisions of the law, people like me would have asked him, Tejaswi and Bansuri would have asked him, what action did you take, by the way, on the Karnataka Education Minister of Telangana, Tamil Nadu, Himachal Pradesh? Rahul has no answers to that. Rahul has no answers to the fact that the papers that leaked in Rajasthan, you did not bring an anti-copying law. Now let me come to the main point, that is Rahul's facts. Rahul's facts and Priyanka's facts, whom I call as Rajnaitik Banti Babli. Please listen. Please listen.
52 पेपर लीक हुए, 750 करोड़ छात्र प्रभावित हुए,
750 करोड़ छात्र प्रभावित हुए। हर्षवर्धन जी, 750 करोड़ छात्र प्रभावित हुए। ये कहां के छात्र है 750 करोड़? ये है बबली का हाल जो कहती है कामकोटी, who you were interviewing yesterday, is a गौमूत्र विशेषज्ञ। And बंटी का हाल तो ये है 30 cars in HM's convoy. HM has come to NDTV program. If Sanjay Jha can show 30 cars in his convoy, I will resign, or Sanjay Jha should go from suspended to expelled. Secondly, HM ordered shots. Shots were never fired. Then press conference में आके he says pellets. Shots were first not fired. Shots fire karna hai, nahi karna hai is a call taken by the DM. HM has nothing to do with it. And this man continuously lies. And therefore, when he lies in parliament, the rule says very clearly, as per rule 353, you have to provide evidence. Abhi kagaz rakh do ke HM ordered firing.
So let me talk about the idiot part first. Sanjay Jha is saying, you're just insecure, chor ki daadi mein tinka, unhone kisi ka naam nahi liya. He just, Rahul Gandhi basically hit you where it hurt the most, and which is why the BJP did not let him speak after.
I am repeating again, Padmaja, calling 140 crore Indians, and particularly the young community to which I belong, as idiots, andhbhakts. Sam Pitroda saying Indians are Africans.
He didn't call
somebody
the youth
saying
idiots. Says who?
I'll tell you what he said. He did not say Modi ji is an idiot. 1 second, please pipe down.
He said,
please pipe down. Now let me
या
explain.
idiot होते हैं,
Let
या
me
student
explain.
होते हैं.
Let me explain the context. He said that there are people who follow somebody
who's an idiot,
who's an andhbhakt. So he's saying voters in this country, if they don't follow Rahul Gandhi, who's supposed to be a great intellectual, they are either idiots, Janta is a Rakshas, Sam Pitroda says Indians are Africans, or we are andhbhakts.
Okay, very quickly respond to this.
So that is an attack on the voter. I don't have a problem if you have said
BJP is outraged on behalf of the voter, Sanjay Jha.
Yeah, I think the entire young of this country have heard that the BJP calls the youth of India and the Gen Z as gutter generation. Shame on you. And who are you trying to fool, Shehzad Poonawalla? You guys are the biggest peddlers of fake news in the world. Can you imagine how condemned the BJP has become? The world calls India the fake news, misinformation, disinformation capital of the world because of you. Shame on you, man. You call the young gutter.
Apart from all these labels, he has anything constructive to offer.
पानी में मुंह डुबा के निकल जाओ यहाँ से.
No, but he's asking a valid question. You're saying that you don't want the youth of India to be insulted. Your MP said that they are a gutter.
Now, 1 second. Let's bring it to that.
The CJI called them cockroach. He called them gutter.
Padmaja, unlike some people suspended or active chamchas, I am not one who fears of anything. Now, let me explain everything. Please tell him to not interrupt me, because it's important. Although, whenever
don't keep calling people chamchas, na? Then he'll also get.
अरे मैंने तो किसी का नाम नहीं लिया ना पद्मजा, एक बार भी नाम लिया तो बताओ.
नाम लिए कुछ बोलना.
हाँ तो अब सुनिए, तो बोल तो रही है ना, वो बोल रहे हैं, सुनिए. अब देखिए, अब बीच में, why is his voice being updated when I'm speaking? On Kangana Ranaut, again this is happening. On Kangana Ranaut, I'm saying very clearly, although she has said it in the context of those abusive people whom nobody can justify. 1 second, Padmaja. I am categorically saying, Padmaja, Kangana should not have said that. Now, can he say that about Rahul Gandhi, who said idiots hai Janta? Tell him to take a stand on Rahul Gandhi. Tell him to take a stand on Rahul Gandhi. I think Kangana, even if she said it in a particular context, should not have said.
यार 2 मिनट में जवाब दे रहा हूँ. तू चुप हो जा, 2 मिनट में जवाब देता हूँ. Padmaja, look at the liar. Taking Rahul Gandhi's statement, trying to twist it and asking me to apologize. I mean, how shameless are you being, Shehzad? You think the viewers of NDTV are as dumb as BJP? Yeah, boss, everybody is not like BJP. The cockroach Janata Party has shown you your face, man. तुमको मुंह छुपाने के लिए कोई जगह ही नहीं बचा है, गुरुजी. हंस क्यों रहे हो? You're embarrassed. I'm telling you, you should leave the studio. You will save your own face. even if you can't save the...
You're such a boomer, Sanjay. You're such a boomer.
Okay,
Sanjay, you're such a boomer. You're out of your prime, bro.
All right, let
Bro,
me...
you're out of your prime. You're a boomer. Please retire with a cup of brandy in your tennis club. एक brandy का glass ले लो और retire कर जाओ अपने tennis club में. You are a typical boomer. Please, uncle.
You know, being a millennial, I'm surprised you even know what brandy is. I don't think Gen Z is relating to brandy at all.
No,
but let me bring
Sanjay will relate to brandy.
Let me bring in Sanjeev Srivastava and Harshvardhan Tripathi. The reason, and we're talking about who's an idiot today. I think the real idiots are those who were expecting some kind of constructive conversation happening inside. And by the way, this applies to the BJP as well. You had Nishikant Dubey saying Nehru ji ayyash hai, Nehru ji ayyash hai. Yeah, but how was it relevant?
1 second, Parliament rules allow me quoting from a book.
How is it relevant?
It's not relevant, but
Nehru ji ayyash hai ya kuch aur hai.
Let me answer. So let me answer this part. I'll answer this. Can I answer this?
Yes.
The 10 seconds or can I answer this?
Only 10
seconds.
seconds.
Only in 10 seconds.
Yes.
Rahul Gandhi said HM ordered firing without proof. Under 353 you have to provide proof. When you attack my leader without proof, I will quote a book and say Nehru's ayyash. I don't subscribe to quoting anything like this, even if it's true in a book. But if they quote HM is a murderer based on nothing, I will quote a book which says HM is Nehru is an ayyash.
And then when we go down that road, this is going
Tejasvi spoke on what?
This is going to be
Bansuri spoke on what? And what did this Priyanka speak on?
Okay.
Priyanka spoke on what and Bansuri? She called Kamakoti. What is Kamakoti's problem? Kamakoti ne kya guna kiya?
The director of IIT Madras. So Sanjeev Srivastava, was this a lost opportunity where there was potential of some actual debate, or was this deliberately taken off the rails for the simple reason that if we look at the substance, this law, which is being criticized as inadequate or only window dressing by the Congress, is exactly like the laws that the Congress governments have brought in their states. For example, the law that exists against paper leak in Rajasthan is pretty much like the law that has been brought in by the centre as well. Whether it be the origin story, whether it be the range of banned conduct, the offence classification, you have a dedicated organised crime category, or whether it be the penalty of how you can forfeit and attach property. You have nothing more to say, so you go off track. Sanjeev Srivastava.
Thank you, Padmaja. So what's happening is, see, we now have a law, and I am in agreement with you that a lot of people would have expected and would have liked to have had a more sincere and meaningful and a serious debate on education reforms and how to manage this issue of paper leaks, which I am afraid, and I hope I am proved wrong by time, is a very difficult creature to stop. And despite this law, let's see how paper leak issue is going to be plugged. So I really wish that the paper leak stops, but a law will prevent that. I have my doubts about it. But yes, I agree there should have been a more meaningful discussion. But what we are seeing in Parliament, and not in this session, but last decades, at least 2 decades, all through the UPA and all through the NDA rule since 2014, that when the opposition smells blood or when they see an opportunity, they will go for the government's jugular. Now, whether they will succeed, but this time, today, when Rahul Gandhi spoke in the parliament and there's such a hue and cry has been raised about this unparliamentary word, the fact of the matter is that he did strike a chord somewhere where it hurts. And this whole thing about now trying to twist this issue that he has called 140 crore people idiots or all students idiots is not true. What he said was a very political statement, that there is a category of people who are students, who believe in learning, who believe in changing their opinion, who are happy to modify and amend their stance. And there is another category of people whom he described as idiot, and third one is an andhbhakt.
Now, so who's he calling andhbhakt? Who's the andhbhakt?
The andhbhakt is very much now part of... Padmaja, come on, don't be so innocent also.
Sir, I am innocent, but I am asking for your guidance. Who's the andhbhakt?
We all know who andhbhakt is. It's in the political idiom for last decade or so. The one side believers of BJP is referred to by the opposition as andhbhakts. I think by creating this issue now.
So aren't you then talking down to the BJP voters as andhbhakt, thereby ensuring that they are never going to be Congress bhakt in the future? अगर आज कोई बीजेपी का वोटर है और आपने उसको अंधभक्त बुला दिया तो वो तो जिंदगी भर उन्हीं का अंधभक्त रहेगा ना. Why should they vote for the Congress?
अरे तो भाई नहीं देगा. हाउ डू आई नो एंड हाउ डू आई केयर वेरी ऑनेस्टली कि वो कांग्रेस को देगा कि नहीं देगा, कहाँ जाएगा. द थिंग इज दैट देयर शुड हैव बीन एन इक्वली स्मार्ट और with a funny bone or a satirical reply from the BJP side.
Okay, before you respond, Shehzad, I want to bring in Harshvardhan Tripathi. Truth is कि राहुल गांधी ने वही इडियम यूज किया है जो अब पॉलिटिकल भाषा में इस्तेमाल किया जाता है. जेनजी इसको इस्तेमाल करती है कि भाई कॉमन पार्लेंस है कि एक तरफ होता है स्टूडेंट / यूथ और दूसरी तरफ होता है अंधभक्त.
जेनजी नहीं, सारा एंटी बीजेपी.
सारा एंटी बीजेपी.
सारा एंटी बीजेपी.
सिर्फ जेनजी ही नहीं, मिलेनियल्स और बूमर्स भी. तो वो सिर्फ आम आदमी की भाषा इस्तेमाल कर रहे थे. हर्षवर्धन
तो पप्पू टप्पू कहते रहते हैं.
हर्षवर्धन जी, अगर पप्पू बुला सकते हैं तो अंधभक्त क्यों नहीं? हर्षवर्धन जी, देन शहजाद. यस.
नहीं, बिल्कुल बुला सकते हैं. और मुझे लगता है कि पॉलिटिक्स में तो इस तरह की जो वोकैबुलरी है या जो इस तरह के ऑप्टिक्स हैं वो क्रिएट किए ही जाते हैं. ये कोई नई बात नहीं है. और उसमें जब आप जाते हैं तो फिर आपको ये ध्यान रखना होता है कि आपकी वोकैबुलरी आपके काम आ रही है या आपके उलट जा रही. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, जो राहुल गांधी ने किया है वो सबसे बेहतर वही कर सकते थे, क्योंकि आज तक राहुल गांधी की एक भी स्पीच नहीं है. डरो मत, भय मुद्रा, वो कौन सी कहानी सुना रहे थे, सुनाते सुनाते भटक गए मणिपुर पर. यानी किसी भी मौके पर
कलावती
30 साल से अधिक के वो पार्लियामेंटेरियन हो गए, एक भी स्पीच राहुल गांधी की नहीं. ये वो कलावती भी याद है, एक भी स्पीच राहुल गांधी की ऐसी. ये बड़ा इंपैक्टफुल बोला. चलो बूमर, जूमर, मिलेनियल, अल्फा, जिसको भी आप कह रहे हो, पीएम तो बूमर से जूमर तक कनेक्ट कर ले गए. वो बूमर की कैटेगरी में आएंगे.
नहीं, पर वही तो वो कह रहे हैं ना, पीएम कनेक्ट नहीं कर पा रहे हैं, इसीलिए तो इतने सैकड़ों बच्चे सड़क पे आ गए, क्योंकि अब ये सरकार नहीं कर पा रही है जो 2014 में बीजेपी ने किया था, राहुल गांधी को पप्पू 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 पप्पू. अब राहुल गांधी को लग रहा है कि उसी स्थिति में ये सरकार है, तो अब मैं आपको अंधभक्त 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 कह के आई विल ब्रिंग यू टू दैट पॉइंट.
मैं यही आपको आप ठीक जगह लेकर आई. पहली बात ये कि पीएम या ये सरकार नहीं कनेक्ट कर पाई, इसीलिए इतना बड़ा मूवमेंट हुआ. लेकिन 4 दिनों में 4 मिलियन यानी 40 लाख लोग अगर पीएम को इंस्टा पर फॉलो करने लगे तो वो तो जेनजी ही होगा ना. अभी तो इधर वाले तो बहुत ज्यादा चलाना ही नहीं जानते इंस्टा, उनको समझ में नहीं आता. यानी 40 लाख लोग अगर इतनी जल्दी कन्वर्ट हो गए तो ये एक बड़ा आंकड़ा है डेटा के लिहाज से देखें. लेकिन जो बेसिक बात है, राहुल गांधी को बोलना नहीं आता है, राहुल गांधी के भाषण ढंग के नहीं होते, तो उन्होंने एक नया तरीका निकाला. और मुझे लगता है ठीक है, उनको अपनी कमजोरी पता चल गई है, तो उनको लगता है हमको अपनी ऑडियंस को एड्रेस करना है. और ये ठीक है, अंधभक्त उनको भला क्यों वोट देगा. लेकिन जरा सोचिए, इसी टीवी की डिबेट में लगातार क्या कहा जा रहा था, हेमंत विश्व शर्मा को अपने एक मंत्री की बेटी पर सफाई देनी पड़ी कि भाई ठीक है हमारा मंत्री है, लेकिन उसका मन किया. वो तो कहां से थी, वो तो अंधभक्त फैमिली से थी. अपराजिता सारंगी की बेटी पर इतनी चर्चा हुई. तो दरअसल क्या है, जिसको आप अंधभक्त कहते हैं वो तो ओपन टू एनी आइडिया है, वो तो हर तरह की चीजों को सुनता है, समझता है, मोदी को भी क्रिटिसाइज करता है. लेकिन जब राहुल गांधी उसको इस तरह से इडियट और अंधभक्त 2 कैटेगरी में बांटेंगे, ये एकेडमिक डिबेट नहीं थी ना यूनिवर्सिटी की कि एक लर्नर होता है, एक इडियट होता है और एक अंधभक्त होता है, उसमें भी दूसरी कैटेगरी हो सकती है. फिर लोग ये भी पूछ रहे हैं कि सोनिया जी, राहुल जी, प्रियंका जी क्या है. राहुल जी तो आज तक कुछ लर्न नहीं कर पाए, स्टूडेंट तो वो है नहीं. प्रियंका जी क्या है, तो क्या वो किस कैटेगरी में आते हैं. और मुझे लगता है जब आप इस तरह से इडियट और अंधभक्त कैटेगराइजेशन करते हैं तो जिसके लिए कर रहे हैं वो ठीक ऐसे ही है जैसे सुरजेवाला ने कहा जो भाजपा को वोट देता है वो राक्षस है. कमाल है.
But you know, when you make these categories, and I'm so glad you mentioned those 2 examples from Assam and Odisha, that when you frame the argument like this, there will be some in your own leaders' families who will say, "हम तो अंधभक्त नहीं हैं." Maybe they flip. Maybe they go over to the Congress side. Maybe they say, "अरे हम अंधभक्त नहीं, हम स्टूडेंट होना चाहते हैं." राहुल जी की बात सुनो.
अरे पद्मजा, ज्यादा दूर मत जाओ, हेमंता बिस्वा शर्मा कैबिनेट तक मेरे घर में है. माय ब्रदर इज लीडिंग द कैंपेन ऑन E20. वो रोज E20 पे गाली दे रहा है. तो कैसा अंधभक्त परिवार. माय मदर डजंट लिसन टू माय पॉलिटिकल व्यू, शी अलाइंस विद तहसीन's व्यू. ये कैसे अंधभक्त हुए हम?
Who knows? Maybe Rahul Gandhi is hoping one day he will also align with this.
Just let me complete. The problem with संजीव श्रीवास्तव is कि उनकी वाणी इतनी मीठी है कि सुन के डायबिटीज हो जाता है, पर वो बात जो है ना डायबिटीज से ज्यादा खतरनाक है. I'll tell you why. राहुल जी के लिए तो उन्होंने तुरंत बोल दिया कि इट्स ए पॉलिटिकल जाइब, बट कंगना हैज टू बी mansplained that her jibe is not political jibe, it is for entire generation. Although she specifically said it कि it is for the abusive people who have abused. वो देखो लिखा हुआ है. But then there we have to mansplain to Kangana that you have said it against the entire community. But Rahul gets a free pass because he belongs to a family. Kangana बिचारी आई किसी घर से नहीं है, बड़े घर से. दूसरी बात I want to ask, this is the basket of deplorables moment. Hillary Clinton once said that everybody who is a non-democrat voter, they are basket of deplorables. And the problem with the Congress first family is, in democracy they are so arrogant and samanti सोच, मैं तो रहा हूं उनके साथ, when they lose the election they don't think मेरे में कमी है, EVM में कमी है या वोटर में कमी है. Now the entire category of voter is अंधभक्त. वाह 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 वाह, आपकी थता थैया ना करे तो अंधभक्त हो गए. Last point I want to make, मोदी is not connected. मोदी को 500 मिलियन व्यू मिला, छोड़ो वो. बिहार, बंगाल, महाराष्ट्र, हरियाणा, HCU, ABVP wins, HCU, ABVP wins, Delhi University, ABVP wins, जादवपुर, ABVP wins, Punjab University, no connect with BJP, ठीक है भाई. And Rahul, who loses 99 elections, is connected because he uses foul language. Great है.
But that was before Jantar Mantar, na? Maybe things change after Jantar Mantar. Rahul Gandhi is saying Jantar Mantar might be the tipping point where things are going to start turning in their direction because Gen Z is going to start changing.
पद्मजा जी, ऐसा है कि I have also saw one thing. एक सेकंड, 10 सेकंड हर्षवर्धन जी. ऐसे आए थे वो, हमने पिच तैयार कर दी किसान आंदोलन की. अब ये पिच तैयार है, यूपी चुनाव हार जाएंगे क्योंकि इन्होंने किसानों को बहुत नुकसान पहुंचाया. याद आ रहा है वो कौन थे?
ओके.
अभी मैं इसलिए कह रहा हूं कि अगर ये दिपके एंड सौरभ दास स्टिक टू देयर वर्ड, केरला और कर्नाटका में दे हैव पुट केसेस ऑन द प्रोटेस्टर्स and they have not sacked the education minister. Walk the talk, Mr. Saurabh
Okay,
Das.
very quickly let Sanjay Jha respond. Harshvardhan ji and Shehzad are saying, how can you suspect the connect of the Prime Minister where millions are watching? The highest watch reel is of the Prime Minister. They are watching and voting. Sanjay Jha.
Let's not even talk about Mr. Modi's reels. I think end of day, I think if the Prime Minister has to shoot a selfie video to talk to the students, and what a hypocritical BJP, for the viewers watching the program, Mr. Modi goes at midnight to placate the students, and his president of the party calls the same protesters as Tukre Tukre gang, and RSS...
No, he's not done that. He has not said this.
Well, you know,
Sanjay Jha, this will not fly. Show me the statement, quote the statement.
The most repugnant statement
Quote
against
the statement.
women. And then RSS...
Nitin Nabeen has called them Tukre Tukre gang.
Calls them criminals and rogues.
Quote the statement, na bhai. Why do you give this statements like a...
This is the important point. This is becoming a red herring.
Quote the statement.
Rahul Gandhi talked about the culpability or the incompetence of Amit Shah and why he should resign. Number two, what about the violence on women?
But sir, all of that is already sub judice, right, Sanjay Jha?
What about them?
When we're talking about a missed opportunity, the simple issue at hand today was paper leaks.
Can I ask a question?
All of this, many people who are aligned to the Congress have gone to court. The matter is in the Supreme Court. Another matter is in the Delhi High Court. There are various courts in states like Assam and Bihar which are also hearing such cases. How was that relevant today other than making a political point?
Well, Padmaja, it was the responsibility of the government to ensure that number one, when the leader of the opposition is speaking, learn to respect the position, even if you want to ridicule Rahul Gandhi, who's, by the way, having the last laugh. So here is the point. You did not allow for a free and frank conversation. Rahul Gandhi was stopped midway. He could not finish his speech. He had the right to bring up the violence on the young of India, which has been done by this...
Can I ask one question?
Okay, very
Can I
quickly,
ask one question? Because Sanjeev Srivastava is sitting here. Any matter which is sub judice in Supreme Court can be discussed in Parliament. Today it was about the law. It was about the paper leak law. If that is the case, then in other law, we will start discussing law and order.
Sanjeev ji, please quickly respond. I'm running out of time, Sanjeev ji.
Sorry, Padmaja.
The question was asked of you.
I didn't get your sentence.
The question was asked of you. Why are you questioning the Prime Minister's popularity when the proof of the pudding is in the eating? The number of people that he has managed to get on his side once he came onto social media. And why is the sub judice matter being discussed in Parliament other than for political point scoring?
It is not sub judice.
See, in Supreme Court, I think you can raise any issue. and talk about it. And the other thing is, my friend Harshvardhan said 4 million followers. It's a great achievement, but it's not like 40 or 400 million. So 4 million, very good number. But in a country of our size, it's not something which is decisive. Okay, this thing is settled or this poll is done and dusted.
How many Rahul added after Jantar Mantar? How many Rahul added?
Shehzad is, I don't know. Frankly, I don't care, honestly.
Sanjay Jha and 3 of his family members. That's all.
My point is limited. That
Very funny, Poonawala.
one thing that when you are describing Andhbhakt, you know, a father or a mother can be a minister or an MP, but that doesn't apply to the children. Children can be some other party. So this clubbing the two or the entire family or Shehzad saying, I am in this party, my brother is in that party, my mother, things like that, that's fine. Maybe what Rahul was referring to, only one person in the family is Andhbhakt. So that's particularly legit, no.
Okay. So if a person in my family has BJP view, is an Andhbhakt, and Congress view is a Democrat, what rubbish is this? This is destructive for democracy. This is democratic looking down. It is patronizing.
Or they are saying this is internal democracy within a family, that you might have a BJP leaning.
No, but why is the BJP guy an Andhbhakt?
भाई वो तो आप खुद बच्चे ही बुला रहे हैं ना. अगर खुद बच्चा कह रहा है,
कौन बच्चा बोल रहा है? ये राहुल बच्चा है, 56 साल का.
Why did he call BJP person Andhbhakt? But
he is a dictator at heart.
बोलते हो बाल बुद्धि बोलते हो फलाना बोलते हो ठिकाना
बाल बुद्धि बैन कर दिया छत्तीसगढ़ में.
नेम कॉलिंग करते हो, सिस्टर को बोलते हो. So
okay, उनका बाल बुद्धि, आपका बाल बुद्धि, उनका अंधभक्त. I think this debate is going to go on for a while, because as it is, as we are speaking, I think the vocabulary and the grammar of how we speak anymore is changing. For the time being though, thank you very much all gentlemen for joining me. So a lot of legal points being made now. Where are things going to go from here on? Joining us now is senior advocate in the Supreme Court, J. Sai Deepak. Thank you very much, Sai Deepak, for speaking to us. Now, it's been 36 very, very hectic days, close to a month and a half. As things stand, now there is a big confusion about what happens to the cases that have been filed against protesters, many of them violent, across the country. The Supreme Court said very clearly that anyone who has criminal antecedents, proceedings against them can continue. The CJP has come out and said, and I quote, they have said that this results in breach of public trust and the court's order is uninformed and wholly unacceptable. What do you make of this?
What I understand, approximately 2,900 cases have been identified, out of which approximately 989 or close to 1,000 cases are those of individuals with a previous criminal record. So barring those cases, I believe, based on what I've made of the orders and what was observed in court, that the rest of the cases shall continue. No coercive action shall be taken against people who are first-time offenders, and there shall be no action taken against minors. That's what I think has been ordered. I think that's a fair order, because if at the end of the day there are people with criminal antecedents who have participated in this, who have colored this protest, who have unnecessarily brought it a certain degree of disrepute, when there are genuine protesters who were airing their legitimate grievances, I think to say that cases against everyone must be withdrawn is a demand, is less of a demand and more of a threat. And when such a threat or such a, let's say, an expectation is aired with respect to the Supreme Court of the country, I think it crosses a certain line. One is to actually engage in a democratic protest against a government, but to say that the Supreme Court must not follow the law, or we will dictate terms as to what the Supreme Court must do, I don't think is acceptable.
Because the argument being made is that there was a commitment that the government made on the 25th of July, based on which this organization called off their protest at Jantar Mantar, and now the government is trying to invoke the court's order as a justification for going back on its stated commitment. Is the government bound to now withdraw cases? And what you mentioned are only the criminals who have been identified in Delhi. In the case of the Delhi violence, you've got similar cases lodged against them in states as varied as Maharashtra, West Bengal, Bihar, etc. Can the government now be made to withdraw all cases nationwide based on the commitment it made?
The commitment that was made is a commitment based on an understanding between the parties, which has no legal value. It has no legal standing. What enforceability does it have in a court of law? And despite there being no backing of the law, the government, I think, from what I understand, has given a solemn assurance that it shall withdraw cases against first-time, let's not use the word offenders, first-time protesters with no criminal record, and also that it shall not initiate any course of action against minors. I don't see why is it that the so-called CJP protesters are arguing on behalf of those who do have a criminal record and who have chosen to use this protest to muddy waters, so to speak. I don't think there is any basis in law to expect the government to withdraw the cases that have been registered against people with a known track record.
Absolutely. And that brings me to the next question. People right now are very confused. They can't figure out who's the victim, who's the villain. Where did somebody act in self-defense, where they were actually provoking the authorities? Now, there are multiple such clips floating around where a police officer is slapping a woman, where women are attacking cops or men are attacking cops, sometimes even juveniles. How does one decide? Purely legally speaking, how does one decide where you were provoking the authority and where you were acting in self-defense?
Padmajaji, the fact of the matter is, it is very difficult for the common public to make up its own mind on the subject, nor are we privy to certain information that the government may have. Similarly, we are not even privy to some material that the protesters may have with respect to state excess. Okay? So I don't think it helps to play this out in the court of public opinion. It is best for this to be dealt with by the courts in accordance with the law. And I'm not trying to give a ton to the death statement here. I'm just trying to say that it will become a tutu meme of sorts in the court of public opinion because nobody is in possession of complete facts. Second, the larger questions of privacy that have been aired during the course of these proceedings, I think it's a fairly tricky question because can there be an expectation of privacy when you're actually conducting a protest and when the managers of the protest cannot take responsibility for the actions of everyone? Then the government will have to step into the picture to at least have some oversight. Considering that there were calls of Gen Z-like protests, such as the Nepal protest being replicated here, and the government has every right to present to service its security mechanism to understand if there are any foreign assets or elements that are participating in these protests, right? So, on the one hand is the legitimate concern of the state, let's say a legitimate state interest in ensuring that peaceful protest is not hijacked in the name of some colorful revolution or by a foreign party or foreign actors, multiple foreign actors. And on the other hand, the government also has to take into account that it can't constantly cite the existence of foreign elements to take away the right of a democratic protest on legitimate issues. Both have to be balanced, and that is a balancing test which is best performed by the court and not on television debates or discussions.
But when you have pictures of a policeman using an AK-47, or when there is evidence now that a pump action gun or a pellet gun was used on civilians, aren't the odds then stacked against the government because the monopoly of power is in your favor?
100% yes. The government has to answer when there have been instances, and I'm sorry to say disgusting instances, of police personnel using lathis or whatnot to behave with women in a disgusting manner without any kind of provocation whatsoever. I think the government has to answer questions because I think I saw questions raised on social media about the absence of IPS personnel on the ground to control the situation. Why is it that you have the officer cadre both in the police service as well as in the armed forces? Because they are meant to ensure that any innate tendency of violence or brutality doesn't take over, and there are some sane, responsible voices who are responsible for the situation. So if ultimately the job here is to simply throw the pawns under the bus and let's say constables under the bus without asking questions as to who else is responsible, and when people realize that there is a tendency of this protest going out of hand and what kind of protocols were discussed, who was made responsible for the oversight of the situation, those questions have to be answered. And the police cannot be a judge or let's say an investigator in its own cause, as rightly observed by the Supreme Court and other commentators on the subject. That requires an independent judicial probe.
And on the side of the organizers, can they simply shrug off responsibility and say, we were only responsible for what was happening on stage? If somebody on the outside periphery decided to molest women or misbehave with people, we've got nothing to do with it.
Sorry, if that is the case, then they don't get to argue on behalf of everyone to ask for blanket withdrawal of cases. If you do not take responsibility for everything that happened there, then you don't get to become the mouthpiece of everyone who's present there. You take responsibility for the people who you have summoned there or marshaled there. Can you identify that? Can you give a list of people who have come there at your behest and because of you? Have you handed over a list and say, these are the people we take responsibility for and the others we have no idea, therefore the law is free to pursue its own course? If that's not the case, what kind of threatened tactic is this? This is what I said, that these are the makings of what I would call urban warfare, where you choose to come out with an amorphous, inchoate, let's say, group, and you mix all sorts of elements in that group. And when the state chooses to press into service its levers, legitimate levers into service, you then say, sorry, we are responsible for only some, but we will certainly argue for everyone to ensure that there is no state action. In law, we call it the Angora cat behavior, wherein the size of the cat shrinks or it expands depending on the argument that is being presented. This is a disingenuous argument, and I don't think we should entertain it. The point is, at some stage, the government needs to basically say, here is where we are interested in taking responsibility for excesses, and the judicial probe will account for those people who have committed these excesses, and we will not stop at the bottom rung of the food chain, we'll go up as well. Similarly, we have the right to understand who was behind these protests, who was pushing it beyond legitimate and acceptable lines, and what kind of interests were being pushed or advanced through this.
And also the culpability will have to be decided, because now it is documented, it's on camera, cases of stone pelting that has taken place, where you have got members of the RAF, the police being attacked, several of them have been left injured. So you can't just keep them at an arm's distance and say, these were some unknown people. If you organize the protest, you're saying in the future, you might be held culpable for them as well.
I would like to ask this question, and there are two questions here, and this hopefully answers the issue that you're raising. One is, assume for a moment that there is a genuine student protester who has gone there to air his or her grievance with respect to the manner in which NEET as an examination has been conducted and the patchwork of solutions that have been offered. And if that student were to be subjected to an excess for no reason, and if you were to choose of a parent, would you want the responsible people to leave scot-free, to go away scot-free without any kind of accountability, without them being brought to justice? No. Similarly, put yourself in the shoes of a person who has been deployed there, who is also a person with a family. And in this instance, we also have, unless it's fake news, which I'm not in a position to confirm or verify, that there were instances of pregnant constables, female constables also being injured. Now, if that were to be the case, who is going to take responsibility for those people? After all, it's not as if our security personnel, police personnel have signed up for any kind of treatment, without any kind of protection, without any kind of counteraction, without any kind of legal recourse. Even they too have rights. They too have countervailing rights. So both sides will have to be balanced. Neither party gets to say that might is right.
Because the organizers are saying this is not our problem. If there were criminals who were present there, the police should have known. The police should have removed them from the spot. Why should we be held responsible for people we did not call? We only asked for the students to be there. We never asked for these people with criminal antecedents to be present there.
See, then they should not have any problems with the use of facial recognition software to weed out these antisocial elements. Then why are they presenting a kind of pseudo defense when police personnel of the state chooses to employ facial recognition software or other ways of identifying who are the participants? There, if you choose to bring in privacy as a defense, then how will the software, or let's say the police personnel, say, I will look only at the criminal. I will have to weed out, I'll have to look at the people who are participating and identify which of these people have prior antecedents, criminal antecedents. How is it that the managers or the organizers of the protest are presenting a defense which conveniently aids the antisocial elements? If they are truly serious about preserving the integrity of their movement and the legitimacy of their cause, they should actually be supporting the government in identifying those people who are not partied or part of their protest and say, these are not our people, we are not responsible for them. So please do what you deem fit in accordance with the law and leave it for the law to take its own course. Let them, if they wish to, they can also give them legal service or let's say legal aid. But they can't say that you must drop all cases even against those elements who we are not responsible for. What kind of an argument is that?
Finally, when you step back and you take a look at what has happened over the last month and a half, what do you make of this model of protest? Because this is being spoken of as the next generation of mobilization, where completely disparate groups get together, driven by a common cause, and they did manage to get the minister's resignation.
I am not going to dismiss the legitimacy of any kind of peaceful democratic protest because that is a constitutionally guaranteed right. And that is an extension of peaceful and peaceable gathering or agitation. So I will not run it down. Second, I would like to draw from the words of that brilliant boy Harsh Dubey, which is, when genuine candidates wanted to protest peacefully and raise this issue way back in June 2024, the government showed them the door and denied them the permission to hold such a protest. Well, when you don't want genuine people who wish to engage with you meaningfully to hold a protest, or you've pushed them to a point where they don't have any other means of airing their grievances, and they don't see any institution responding to their grievances legitimately speaking, then these are the kind of lumpen elements you're actually going to encourage. And now the precedent that you have set is law-abiding peaceful protesters will be taken for granted, and those who bully, threaten, pelt stones are the ones who will ultimately be hurt, notwithstanding the fact that the cause may be legitimate or genuine. Who has set the precedent for this? So the government must take some responsibility for not having acted on this issue, and I will not give the government a free pass on the issue at all whatsoever, because it's not something that has blown up overnight. It is brewed over at least 2 years, over multiple examinations. And if anybody chooses to resort to whataboutism, saying Punjab has done this, or who has stopped you from taking any kind of action against those states, or initiating any kind of democratic action or legal action with respect to leaking of papers? Who has stopped you from making that a legitimate political issue in those states where you're not in power? If you have chosen not to do so, you don't get to say, I didn't do it, therefore you scratch my back, I scratch my back. The country pays the price and students pay the price. Coming to the question of the other aspect of the equation, which is that yes, urban warfare, street terror, or these kind of tactics have long been indicated by the geniuses of the other side as the last option of resort when they fail electorally. There is no response mechanism that the government has come out yet. I'm sorry to say what has happened. The net result is those who were willing to engage with you peacefully in the interest of addressing the issue constructively have been given a go by. Instead, lumpen elements have gotten the better of you. That is the unfortunate truth. That's the unfortunate reality. So I would say there is no point in now playing the victim. The government has to set its house in order in terms of having a constructive feedback mechanism where legitimate issues come back to it in the form of feedback, advice, or whatever it sees. And also it needs to have the PR tools, the legal tools, and the constitutional tools to deal with this issue.
And now
these are different aspects.
And now that this precedent has been set, how will we know, or when will we know, when that line has been crossed between a legitimate democratic street protest and mob justice? Because the constitutional court is now going to be bypassed by the strength of numbers, God forbid, on the streets.
See, I think about 3 or 4 years ago, even on the eve of the 2024 elections, several commentators, including myself, had commented specifically that, saying that this will result in the streets being tested. Okay. If the government were to pit itself exclusively against the protesters...
And you think that moment has come where the streets are being tested?
100% it has come. Especially after the recent electoral outcomes, I think that situation has come, and a successful model has been evolved. Now we'll have to see how replicable the model is and how scalable the model is from the perspective of the protesters and from the perspective of the mischievous dramatis personae. The issue that you have to consider is this. If you want sections of the society to support the government in its bid to deal with these elements and also constructively engage on issues of legitimate importance, then the government must be seen as getting off its high horse and talking to people. When that doesn't happen, even the genuine support base will have no other option but to say, you don't listen to anyone. Because, allow me to say this, when the well-wishers of this government have been constantly airing these legitimate issues and have been providing feedback through private channels and public channels, and they were not paid heed to, the message that you're sending is you'd rather engage with a belligerent opposition that doesn't respect the law than to people who are willing to respect the law and point out something in national interest. That's the message that has gone out. And it's a sorry state of affairs where unfortunately it's come down to a point where we are back to the situation of the 90s or the 2000s, where the message that the government used to send to people was anybody who's willing to pick up the weapon against the state will be given a place at the negotiating table. Anybody who respects the constitution, wants to abide by the law and still put forth his or her point of view will not be respected because their inability to pick up the weapon or their inability to pelt stones will be seen as a sign of weakness and not their law-abiding nature. That's the message you have sent.
And I think that's food for thought, very sobering thought. Hopefully the government is going to think about this and not brush it off simply as some kind of political opposition or a motivated piece of advice, because the precedent is right there in front of us.
The deep state exists, but the deep state cannot be the omnibus defense for every policy failure or policy paralysis.
I'll leave it at that. Jai Sai Deepak for speaking to us. Thank you very much.
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे, केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
याद है ना मैंने क्या सिखाया था? सिल्वर के लिए स्टर्लिंग मार्क, गोल्ड के लिए हॉल मार्क और मस्टर्ड ऑयल के लिए सिर्फ पी मार्क।
इस बार तो माँ से भी बेहतर बना।
P Mark, the mustard specialist since 1933. बरसों से सरसों।
कुछ तो बात है इस दिल में। हिंदुस्तान मिले हिंदुस्तान से। जय हो देश हो विदेश हो, JK हो। देश का टायर JK टायर।
रंग 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 रंगीन रे, देखो कैसे भी हो दिन रंग 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 बना रहे। आगे पीछे ऊपर नीचे होता रहेगा, धूप में भी तेरा रंग बना रहेगा रहेगा रे। रंगा ढंगा अतरंगा रहना तू सतरंगा, जो होना है वो तो होना ही है। रंगीले तू सदा मुस्कुरा, सदा 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 मुस्कुरा। रंग 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 रंगीन रे, देखो कैसे भी हो दिन रंग बना रहे। बोझे पेंट्स रंग बना रहे।
आर प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस हेल्दी एवरीडे।
जानते हैं मैं एलीट मैट्रिमोनी क्यों रिकमेंड करता हूं? 17 years of experience, largest database of elite profiles और 100% confidentiality. Elite Matrimony, India's most successful matchmaking service for the elite.
We are over, Jimmy.
हे, लाइफ में स्क्रैचेस तो आएंगे। गाड़ी के स्क्रैचेस को तो कॉस्मो पीपीएफ संभाल लेगा। आप अपना देख लो।
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है! अरे मेरे राजा,
पर जब इंसान प्रकृति के साथ सामंजस्य को आत्मसात कर लेता है तो वो मधुर और लालन पोषण करने वाली बन जाती है। पी मार्क सरसों के तेल ने प्राकृतिक तरीके से सरसों के तेल को बनाया है, शुद्धता और गुणवत्ता के साथ।
The mustard specialist since 1933. बरसों से सरसों।
कुछ तो बात है इस दिल में।
That put up during the anti-need protest, the police have issued notices to several ex-accounts over the abusive posts that targeted Prime Minister during the protests that were held by the CJP. Floods to batter Assam, over 75 people killed, more than 3 lakh are affected. Rescue and relief operations continue amid the devastation.
रंग 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 रंगीन रे, देखो कैसे भी हो दिन रंग 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 बना रहे। आगे पीछे ऊपर नीचे होता रहेगा, धूप में भी तेरा रंग बना रहेगा रहेगा रे। रंगा ढंगा अतरंगा रहना तू सतरंगा, जो होना है वो तो होना ही है। रंगीले तू सदा मुस्कुरा, सदा 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 मुस्कुरा। रंग 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 रंगीन रे, देखो कैसे भी हो दिन रंग बना रहे। बोझे पेंट्स रंग बना रहे।
याद है ना मैंने क्या सिखाया था? सिल्वर के लिए स्टर्लिंग मार्क, गोल्ड के लिए हॉल मार्क और मस्टर्ड ऑयल के लिए सिर्फ पी मार्क।
इस बार तो माँ से भी बेहतर बना।
P-Mark, the mustard specialist since 1933. बरसों से सरसों. कुछ तो बात है इस दिल में.
आर प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला. Delicious, healthy, every day.
जानते हैं मैं एलीट मैट्रिमोनी क्यों रेकमेंड करता हूं? 17 years of experience, largest database of elite profiles, और 100% confidentiality. Elite Matrimony, India's most successful matchmaking service for the elite.
We are over, Jimmy.
हे, लाइफ में स्क्रैचेस तो आएंगे. गाड़ी के स्क्रैचेस को तो कॉस्मो पीपीएफ संभाल लेगा. आप अपना देख लो.
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात. वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है. अरे मेरे राजा.
He has tracked the pulse of power from Washington to Korea. Witnessed history being made in global capitals and conflict zones.
Dislocation from Tel Aviv.
Brought clarity to complex issues of national security and international affairs.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke to him at length yesterday.
The Ayatollah Khamenei is gone. There has been a missile attack right behind you, and we need to rush into a shelter. Heading there. Will Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli resign?
And now, Aditya Raj Kaul, covering international affairs like no one else. Only on NDTV network. मीठा या नमकीन, चाहे जैसे खाओ, 100% सूजी से बनी आर प्योर वर्मिसेली. स्वादिष्ट, सेहतमंद, हर रोज.
Launch control 0 to 100.
This isn't just about.
Good evening and welcome. You're on India Matters this Wednesday night with me, Shiv Arur. Let's get you straight to the top stories we're tracking at 9 tonight. Anti-paper leak passes in Lok Sabha. Bill cleared by voice vote amidst heavy opposition sloganeering. Rajya Sabha hurdle for the reform bill next. BJP and Rahul Gandhi lock horns over use of pellet guns during the protests on July the 20th. Rahul asks who issued the orders. BJP says